Okay, so welcome to today's Monday Mindset. I am very excited to be here today as we are going to be talking about when finances have you on the ropes. My name is Nikki Sutherland. I'm a financial literacy educator and I help people with finances, make money, manage money, multiply money, especially people of faith. And so this call is personal to me because as a financial literacy educator, someone who's been in the banking industry for 15 years and then came out and, built multiple six-figure businesses, I found myself in a place where money was looking funny. And I'm going to have my chat box up as well because I want to really get some interaction from our call today. And I want to know if you've ever been in a position where your money has acted funny. Just go ahead and say funny in the chat. And we're going to talk about when the money isn't adding up for the amount of days in the month that there is. Hello. When you don't even want to check your bank account and it kind of feels painful, sometimes stressful. Hello, type in the chat the feelings that you feel when you realize that there's a desire to do something more, but the money doesn't look like it's going to stretch. What are some of the feelings that we feel? For me, um, I used to get very anxious, yeah, annoyed, frustrated, didn't want to open the letters, didn't want to, check the post, check the emails. And even sometimes now, if I'm honest, even though I'm not even in that situation, when I see letters, I kind of like have to tell myself, Nick, you're not there anymore. It's very traumatizing sometimes to see physical reminders, of just things that used to trigger you in the past. Kept curtains closed, disappointed in myself. Wow, that's deep. That's deep. I felt that fed up, tearful, buried my head, avoidance, and all those things. I've felt those. I felt those, and one of my worst days is when I actually calculated the debt, um, and it was 67, just shy of 67. It was 66 grand in debt outside of a mortgage. It was a dark time for me. It was really dark. You heard the audio at the beginning of this. It was around that same time as well. Had payday loans. I often joked in some of my other trainings how the guy in the payday place knew me by name, and you know how the payday works. You're in a constant cycle because they take the money and then you need to go back and borrow it again. Hopefully you don't know how payday works. But it was a constant cycle. Those of you that don't know, you'd go in and you'd get an advance on your salary. And so they'd give you an advance, but then when your salary came, they would take it back, but they'd take it back with very high interest. And so you're constantly chasing your tail. Um, and I had bad debts, and I'm not going to bore you with how I got into them and the mindset I had to get into them. That's a whole nother day. Um, but one of the days I remember calling in sick to work because I looked at my account and I didn't have enough to put the petrol. I didn't have enough to go gas station. And so it was cheaper for me to call in sick. And I remember thinking, if I go to work, I've got to put money in the car, I've got to have money for lunch, and I just couldn't afford to go to work. And I obviously, when you work, you get sick pay and stuff. And it wasn't that I called in to work sick because I didn't have no money. I called into work because I was having a mental breakdown that I didn't have the money to get to work. And it was tough. It was really tough. And I think I got to this place where I was kind of like keeping my head above water. Someone say water if you know what I mean. So up until this point, I just about managed to scrape by. I just about managed to have enough. You know, the ones where you would just be robbing Peter to pay Paul, moving money around. Even if like, I think one of the worst places for me was like moving 62p from one account to another to make it up to like it was. I was just about scraping by, sometimes pulling money off a credit card, putting it somewhere else, and then shifting it and lifting it and shifting it, but I was always maintaining. Do you guys know what I mean? Like it was bad, but it had never got that bad before where I was like, okay, I don't have it now. I can't, I've got nowhere to go. Like I'm maxed out. I've got no avenues. And I remember going to church one Sunday, and I've told this story to you guys before, where I promised my son we'd go Nando's, and my ex had promised to put that money in the account, like the child maintenance, and he didn't put it in that day. And I literally depended on it. I don't know if you know, like, you know what, like now I'm in a place where I forget who owes me money or I forget when money comes in. I don't know dates when money comes in. But back then, I knew like I knew I got paid on the 18th. I knew the baby father put money in on a certain date. I think it was the first. I knew that any money that came in, I knew when it was coming in. Like I was expecting it, and I'd spent it before it even come in. You know, the ones where, and I remember looking at my account, and I was like, the money's not gone in. And I promised my son that I'd go Nando's, and when we got in Nando's, it was then when I checked the account and saw that the money hadn't gone in. And I only had enough to feed him. And just to put some context around this, I was actually pregnant. And those of us who've been pregnant, you know, when you're pregnant, you've got to eat little and often. And I was hungry and I felt sick. But he'd already started looking at me and he was really excited. And I remember him saying, Mummy, you're not ordering anything. I'm like, no, Mummy's not hungry. This time, belly is rumbling. And he ate. And as he was eating, no word of a lie, you know the ones where a tear's rolling down your eye and you've got to kind of wipe it away. And I remember sitting there like going, nah, something's got to shift. I can't carry on like this. And I've told the story inside my book how it was a time in my life, and I didn't know it at the time, but I had to choose which one of my children to feed. Like as a mother, you love your children, and it's like, do I feed the one that's here or do I feed the one that's in my stomach? And that was like the lowest moment for me. And I was rock bottom that day. And I remember almost, and I don't know if anybody's ever felt like this, and I hope not, but whilst I was sitting there, I'd already been planning my pity party moment. Like I couldn't wait to get home to put my son somewhere so I could just go in my bed and just cry. Like I planned my crying. Like I knew I was going to go home and sob. I needed to get out of a public place because I knew that I was going to go home and I was going to have a breakdown. I could feel it bubbling, and I was sitting in Nando's fake smiling, just me and him. And I was just like, Lord, I don't know what else to do. I don't know. I need you to tell me what to do. There is no one that I'm around at this point in my life that can actually help me other than you. And I don't know if you've ever been in a place where, although you're popular, although you seem to have a lot of people around you, when push really comes to shove, there's there's limited people that you can actually call with the real stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why I love Auntie Anne, because I mean I got very sick a couple months after that. And she came around my house and she helped to bathe me, her and her daughter Antoinette. Um, and that's when I actually reached out to help. But you know, sometimes when you can have a lot of people around, you can laugh, you can joke, but very few people, when you're on that edge, you really get to start to think, who's actually around me at that point? I started to evaluate everything. Um, and some of you know that off the back of this, the book came. Off the back of this, a bunch of stuff came, six-figure launches, upgrades of house, kids in private school. But what was the middle bit? Because we talk about the end bit, we talk about the part where, we come out the other side. Like every on the Instagram, you see Nikki the publisher, you see Nikki the community person who runs the rebuild, you see the woman that does the trading, the woman that is running multiple businesses, traveling the world, doing the retreats. And then we've spoken about the rock bottom part, but very rarely Do we talk about the middle bit, the process, the part where you really hear what God is saying to you? You know, on Sunday, Pastor said something, it hit my core, as First Lady. And she said, "You've forgotten God because now He's given you what you were praying for." And I think so many times what happens is when we're at that low point, yeah, we're going to run to church. We're on the altar, we're bawling, we're praying, "God, give me a breakthrough." And then when things get better, we slowly don't do the things that we were doing when we were desperate. And I come to the realization, if I reverse engineer that, that sometimes God allows us to go through certain seasons, not everybody, but some people, to bring us closer to Him, to make promises to Him, so that when He does fulfill the promise on our life, we remain faithful. Look at Hannah. He allowed her to go through extreme pain, and she promised that she would give Samuel back to him. And it was the pain that brought her to that promise. And so I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, as God had downloaded this word to me, what was God saying to me in this time? What was He saying to me in this time? He was telling me to come back home, that's for sure, as a prodigal. He was telling me that I didn't give you that man. That man was your choice. That wasn't my choice. He was telling me that, "My daughter, I still love you and I've got big plans for your life, but I need you to submit to me and not to your flesh." He was telling me, "Come home, daughter. Come home." And so when we hear God gives us a vision in the midst of all of this stuff, and we say this, when God gives us a vision, He then makes the provision. You guys all heard that, right? We've heard that so many times. But what is provision? What is provision God coming down on a white horse and throwing 1 million in your bank account? Or could provision be, because I honestly feel like we've missold what provision is, because we say God is going to give the provision and we just sit there like, provision, provision, it's provision. Oh, I heard the door knock. Is that provision? No, right? So what is provision? Because we've got to stop misselling it to ourselves. What does provision look like? Because provision comes from vision, right? So it comes from vision. So what we're talking about here is it comes it comes. So once we have the vision, the provision is going to come from the vision itself. So for example, if God has given us a vision to teach, then part of the vision must mean I must study to show myself approved so that I know what on earth I'm talking about, what God wants me to teach. If the vision is to be a pilot, then the provision must be, okay, I've got to actively look for the course to become a pilot. I've got to actively put myself in a position to become a pilot. I've got to see if I can find other pilots and get some advice. The provision is going to come from the vision. If I want to become a chef because God has told me I need to become a chef, I don't want to be hanging out in the betting shops. I don't want to be hanging out in certain environments that are not connected to the vision, because I'm aligning myself for the provision. So the provision is going to come from ideas, from your networks, your community. It's going to come from access, but ultimately it's going to come from the actions that we take, the work. So here's a question for you that I want us all to answer, if we can, honestly, in the chat box. Is when money pressures come upon us, how do we think? Do we fight or do we fold? And I want us to have an honest conversation. Do we speak defeat? And so by folding, people think that means quitting. Do you know you don't have to quit on paper, but you can quit in here? Do you know that there's something called functioning depression? So you can still be, and I'll use it in business, active in the back office, but you've quit in here. You can still be active in your marriage because you haven't had a divorce. You're there, but you've quit. You can still be turning up to that job, but here you've quit. How many of you go to your job and you know there's work colleagues you don't even like? You just sit there, you know, whatever they say, it's like, I know I ain't here forever. Oh, was that just me? Oh God. I had one colleague that I actually liked. I ain't even gonna lie. The rest of them jarred me out. So you can still be physically there, but spiritually you've checked out. That's what folding is. So you know, folding doesn't have to mean I've actually signed the divorce papers. Folding doesn't have to mean I've quit the job of handing the resignation. Folding is when your heart, the Bible says that out of the heart the mouth speaks. So the heart, he renews our mind, right? And our mind, what's in our mind is coming from here. So some of us have folded, but we told ourselves we haven't quit. We're still fighting. But at that point in my life, I had a temporary fold. And I heard from God loud. Now, something I've not shared before, and I'm looking at your things, and I do want to say this because some of you do know that I had a suicidal moment. And I had a friend who had a niece who commits suicide, and bless her, I think she was only like 17, and she had a credit with Littlewoods or Superdrug. She went in to buy makeup, and they said, "Oh, do you want a store card? You don't have to pay today. You can pay, you have interest free for 6 months." So she was like, "Oh, okay, I'll keep my money." And she forgot about it, and then they kept sending red letters. And basically, she spent a little bit of money in Superdrug, and the bills kept coming in. I think it was less than £1,000, and she was just so stressed. She jumped in the train tracks in London Bridge. And I remember hearing that story, and I was just like, 66 grand worth of debt. This girl couldn't hack it. £1,000. And I recognize it didn't matter if it was 1,000 or if it was 66. It's what it does to this. It's what it does to this, and then it gets in here. And I want to say this to someone who may be feeling stressed, fed up, or on the edge of their financial battle, to tell you that no amount of money is worth your peace or your life. They are not going to lock you up for an unpaid bill. You ain't going to jail. They may put a default on your account. They may send the bailiffs out. It's not worth your life. It's not this piece of paper, these digital numbers on our phones, in our bank account. It's not worth our life. No bill, no debt, no creditor, none. It's not worth our life. Now, the thing is if you are a good steward, or you're somebody who is a person of your word, or you're somebody who has a heart, when you owe, you will feel a certain type of way. When you owe, you'll feel uncomfortable. It bothers you to owe money. It bothers you to not be able to pay your bills. So it will give you that feeling, but we have to remember that it's not worth our life. And I have to just say that before I carry on. But we do have a responsibility to do the best that we can to be good stewards. So I want to share something with you, and then I'm going to get into some real tangible things that we can do, because perspective is everything. And I hope I'm not going to regret sharing this with you, because some of you guys are vicious on the internet, but it has been over 15 years. Um, has it been? Well, I've been married for 9. So it might be about, yeah, it might be about, I think it might be about 10 or 12 years. And at that point, the internet weren't really that buzzing that much, so you might not be able to find it. But my little sister and myself, we're very different. One of my little sisters, anyway. she is very nonchalant when it comes to money and paying things, right? She'd have bills, they'd bounce, phone will be cut off. You know them sisters that are like, oh, my phone's cut off again. Can you run me the money? Like, and as the big sister, you know you always get those calls, right? Credit was busted. She didn't really care about any of that. You know, I was the banker, she was the one, and you know the typical kind of comparisons. You know, you've got the go-getter, the one that's always like, you know, works in the bank, and then you've got the one that got pregnant early, the benefits, feels like a bit like a black sheep. And you know, my sister, she had debts everywhere. She had credit busted, she had people calling her phone, letters through the door, but she wasn't all stressed in that, right? She was living her best life. And I remember we used to live together and it was a nightmare. And so I kicked out one of my tenants and I said to her, listen, you can live there, go live there. So she was living in one of my places. Bless her, she had the housing benefit, right? And one day I saw her on Facebook because that's all we had back then, Facebook. And she was in the hairdressers getting her nails and her hair done with the housing benefit. And I'm like, bruv, have you paid the mortgage? I'm laughing now, but I was vexed because remember, I just told you what I've been going through. And on top of all of that, my sister is going to spend the money for the housing benefit, the mortgage. And so she's just airing me, laughing it off. And I'm having to pay the mortgage now for my house and her house. Remember, I'm in a crisis already. I'm mash up. And it went on for like 7 months. And as the big sister, I'm thinking I can't kick out my sister and my nephew. But I'm struggling because now the reason and I'm telling you this because this was part of some of the reason how I was ending up in the payday people then, right? And I'm literally watching my sister enjoying the fruits of my labor. Like, I'm telling you, people, you would have been mad. She was on Facebook, like, yeah, 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 in the raves, drinking, like, she was living her best life. And one day, after a few years, obviously, what happened, she ended up moving out. I got the bailiffs on her because I couldn't take it anymore, and she got a council place. Um, and after many years of kind of both of us having to heal from that situation, we very close now, like we're really, really close. And she had my niece or my nephew, I can't remember which one, and I was round by her house. And at this point, baby father had left me again, and he had run off with £6,000 of my money. So I'm going through all of this stuff. I've got people that owe me money everywhere, and I am just stressed. Isn't it interesting how everything happens all at the same time sometimes? And so I kind of just told I've written that money off for my sister. Like, I'm really not going to get back 6 months worth of mortgage. The girl was on benefits, not even working at the time. And so I'm at my sister's house. She's just had the baby, and I'm sitting there chatting with her. We've kind of forgotten even about the debt. We're not even talking about it. And my phone rings, and some of you know I've been on television quite a few times, and a producer from ITV had called me, and they were like, "Look, we want you to come onto another show." I did a show with them before. I'm not going to say the name, but I did a couple of TV programs with them before, and they're like, "Look, we've got another opportunity for you. Do you have anyone that owes you money?" And I said, yeah, actually, my baby father, he owes me £6,000. And they were like, right, okay, do you have proof? I was like, yeah, I've got all the proof. And they were like, look, we're the producers of Judge Rinder. And those of you that are abroad that don't know what Judge Rinder is, it's a little bit like, what's the lady's name in America that does that judge show? Judge Judy, is it? A little bit like Judge Judy. And so I was like, yeah, my baby father, this is his number. I need to get the money, right? Um, and I ask you guys this question, yeah? How far do you go to get your money back? Like, what extent do you go in order to get your money back? Like, when people ignore you, when people don't want to give you your money back, like when you're in a situation where you're literally like, at that point, I've got two kids, I'm a single mom, I have no money, people. Like, I'm literally on the edge, I'm on the ropes, right? And I am figuring these things out. And the lady was like, okay, what's his name? I've given her the name and I've given her all the information. So she's now gone and she's called my baby father. Now, some of you might not know this, but on those programs, you do have to produce, they're 100% real. So you have to produce all your statements, all everything. You have to give them everything, like it's not no fake thing. However, if you win, the show clear the debt. The person doesn't have to pay the debt, right? So that's the benefit of them going on, that the show will clear the debt if you win the case, right? So they've called my baby father. The lady called when she called me back and she explained it. It was actually funny. So she called him and she was like, "Look, we're aware that you owe, your child's mom money, and this is the proposal. If you come on the show, and if she wins, you will actually not have to pay the debt. The show will pay the debt, right?" And in a polite way, he gave her some BCs and RCs and run her off the phone. Right? And so she calls me back and she's like, I don't think he's gonna come on. So me and my sister were sitting in her house and we were dead with laughter, like we were literally cracking up. And so she's now telling me the whole story, how he basically cussed her off the phone and said, go on, which judge Rinda, and I'm giving you the clean version, right? And then the lady was like, okay, so he's not gonna be, this is a dead end. Is there anybody else that owes you money? And so at that time, my sister, the phone's on loudspeaker, my sister heard, my sister's like, I owe her money, I owe her money. I'm like, Mon, I'm not taking you to Judge Rinda. You're my sister, I'm not doing it. My sister grabs the phone and she's talking to the lady. She's like, listen, I feel so bad. My sister, she done the best for me and I feel so bad. Bring me on, bring me on. And she's hooked up this whole thing. Honestly, I didn't want to do it. Like, I really didn't want to do it. But my sister was like, no, it's fine. I just want to clear the debt. I want it off my conscience. The whole family thinks I'm a loser anyway. And so she convinced me to do this show, right? And so they now send limousines down to London. We get limoed up to Birmingham to go on Judge Rinda. And long story short, Judge Rinda, to my shock, started asking me questions that I wasn't expecting. So he started to ask me, like, talk to me about when you bought your first house. And then I started to share how I worked 3 jobs. And I started to actually get emotional. Do you know why? Because I had blocked out all the things that had happened to me leading up to this situation. You guys are all starting to Google it. You ain't gonna find it, bro. Like, you're not gonna find it. Trust me. I've checked. Can't find it. And as I'm talking to Judge Rinder and he's pulling out all this stuff out of me, I'm reminded that actually, girl, you've worked hard. I told him I worked 3 jobs to get my first house. I told him about the robbery when they came in and robbed us at gunpoint and knife point and stabbed up my ex. I told him everything. And Judge Rinder was like, and now you finally got another, and your sister's, the way they put it, you know how it is on television. And I don't think my sister really knew what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. We didn't know that it would be painted like the big sister who's in the banker and the benefit girl just comes to fleece the benefits. You know what it's like on those shows. And so yeah, she didn't come off very well. Obviously, I won the case. And the funny part of it is when they rewarded us with, like, I think it was like 4 grand or 5 grand or something like that. When they rewarded us with the money, I gave her half still. I didn't even take all of it. Like, it's just the way that my heart worked. But when the show was released, my sister literally, they slated her that it was bad. I mean, so anyway, we sat down and we spoke about it after. And my sister told me the nonchalant behavior was a front. It really did bother her that she didn't have no money. It did bother her that she had this persona of being the wockless one, just on benefits. It really did, but that's the way she expressed it, you know. And it was quite revelationary to see how my sister behaved feeling like that and how I behaved feeling like that. Like, my mind was like, okay, let me open a business, let me grind. And her mind was like, well, it's bad anyway. She used to just ignore everything. And it's very interesting when we had this conversation that we both recognized the differences on how at that time we dealt with having a lack of finance. Now, I'm not going to hide away from the fact that during that time as well, I did go on a few dates. I did have a man paying my mortgage at one point. I did have a man that was doing my hair and nails. I did have one that was, helping me with my bills. I was very creative. Listen, I was young, I looked good. They weren't sugar daddies. None of them were sugar daddies. But they just seemed to want to help me, and I did not turn the help down. It was very creative way of making. I never missed a mortgage payment, people. God was so good. No wonder why he had me rock bottom, because I wasn't living the way that I should have. After I had the babies, I was kind of like bun with man, da 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 da, whatever. And it was just interesting for us how we both dealt with it. So I'd like to ask you this: how do you behave when you cannot keep up with your commitments? Are you nonchalant and unapologetic? And by the way, disclaimer, my sister's now just about to qualify as a nurse. She's in uni. She's doing absolutely amazing. We have a fantastic relationship now. She's got good credit again. She has disposable income. She's doing fantastic. And it just goes to show how maturity, growth, but also as well how a lack of knowledge about finances can position us in ways where we're just not equipped to deal with it, you know. And in fact, my sister is actually quite funny. She called me the other day. She's like, "Listen, I've got some time on my hands. Can you give me a job in a rebuild?" I was like, "What do you want?" She goes, "Can I be the one that chases all the money, like all the people that owe you money?" I goes, "No, bro, you ain't doing that. Everyone will cancel in a day. If my sister called you for the money, you're gonna cancel. Not only you gonna cancel, you're gonna need a therapist, because that girl has no filter, no chill, right?" But yeah, we have a fantastic relationship. She's not saved yet. We're still praying for her. She's hilarious. She's a bunch of fun, right? But anyway, let's get back to it. How do we behave when we cannot keep up with our finances? Are we nonchalant, unapologetic, stressed? Do we cry? Do we lie and pretend we don't owe the money? Do you know how many people have pretended they don't know me after they owe me money? Some of you may have seen online, right? I did that thing. We had a court case. We had many court cases, by the way. This year, I've just been so like, look, we're not playing. We're not playing. People need to understand this is, we're not playing. And somebody actually lied and said they'd never met me. I mean, it was such an easy case. So we pulled out in the post, they call it the mitigation meeting. Oh, I'm full of stories today, I told you, but we're going to finish up in 10 minutes, promise. So we've pulled up this online call, and the person's like, "I don't know her." Like, "What do you mean? You don't know me? You don't know me? It's me, Nikki. Hey, hey, hey. How do you not know me?" And so my legal team have got this issue on the Zoom. And these your text messages saying, "Nikki, I've just made 12 grand. Thank you so much." I mean, what kind of like, and then it was like, "Oh, that Nikki. Look, what do you mean that Nikki? Like, you don't know who I am." And then it was like, "Oh my God, I kept missing your calls." Yeah, of course you kept missing your calls, because you owed me multiple monies. um, and then they were like, "Look, these are the options. You A or B." I think it was like within half an hour, the money was in the bank. I mean, it was just hilarious how people pretend. She literally said she didn't know who I was. Like, we've been working together for a year. How did she not know me? Oh God. Oh yeah. Do you know what? Money can make people lie. Like, a lack of money can make people lie. I tell you, do you not deny the debt? Oh no, I never. So that book that you got published, was it not me that produced it? How did the book come? So much. So carefree. Are you like my sister? Well, how my sister was, just go spending and just hope that the card doesn't decline. How do you behave? I want everyone to type in the chat. Are you in denial? You don't look. You're just like, you know what, let's just see how it goes. There was a time when I used to just swipe the card and go, "Is it gone through? Has it gone through?" It declines. I don't want the perfume anymore. Do you overspend? Do you go and just screw it? Luxury items. Do you beg? Do you beg other people? You know, are you somebody that is confident? There are some people that love to beg, like they have no shame. Or are you the reverse and you suffer in silence? Like you will eat noodles if you have to. Do you expect people to save you? You know, some people, like back in that day, my sister used to be like, no one don't help me. She had that kind of attitude. Bruv, go and get a job. Help yourself. You know, um, do you go into defense mode and shut down? Here's another one. Do you cancel everything? Do you go into like defensive mode and just cancel everything? Close the curtains? Do you give up? You know, some people, the first thing they do when they don't have money, I've seen this so many times, is start to go through their subscriptions. You cancel Netflix, you cancel the gym, right? And if you add those two things, it's like £30. It hasn't done anything to your finances, but it just makes you feel like you're taking control. Okay, I'm going to, like, what is, that's not a plan, people. Canceling things, okay, I understand we got to, but that's not a plan. Hello, somebody. Or someone said, call Nikki. That's a good answer. Or do you get creative? This is the fight. So all those other stuff I said before are the fold. Here's the fight. Become more visible. Create value. Seek financial support. Communicate. Listen, you never believe, yeah, communicating with people that you owe can release the stress. Do you know, especially companies now, they're like, okay, what can we do to support you? Just set up a payment plan. Do you know the worst thing I've seen from my banking days is people that get defaults and um like have creditors like bad credit. It's not because they didn't have the money or whatever, it's just lack of communication, right? Communicate to those that we owe, communicate to those that owe us. Right? Right now, I think I've got over 100 grand outside. Like, Lord, let it rain. My legal team are like, okay, we're on it, we're on it. Got court cases out my neck, right? If you are somebody that owes someone money, you know, one of the things that we can do is to apologize. Like, hey, look, I know I haven't been able to pay you, but just let you know I haven't forgotten. I'm not forgetting about you. I know, like, one of the worst things is when people owe you money and they just don't say anything. You know, they don't, they just, you know, and then you see a clip of them like, ooh, let's go. Like, you know, just communication, basic communication. Um, or is it GoFundMe, begging bowls? Is it depression? I can't do this no more. I can't do it. I'm doomed. Negative self-talk, pity party, or baby father. I've done that before. Listen, bro, you need to up the maintenance, bedroom, because things are tight right here. Some of us, yeah, and I've done this many times with a lot of women that I've spoken to, have a pride that's connected to our fall. And the pride is, I ain't asking man for nothing. Let him move. No, it's your children's money. Some of you should have your children's father on child support, and you ain't done it yet because of a pride thing, but you're struggling. That's not fair to the kids. I put my baby father on child support until he patterned up and we topped it. Child support should be supporting the child. Yeah, I am not gonna sit back and, you know, suffer if you have a good enough relationship, or not even good enough relationship, but if you know, you go through the authorities, of course, right? So what are the tangible things that we can do? Okay, I'm going to give us a framework. I love a framework. I want you guys to write this down. Let's see if I can share my screen. You guys still here with me? Do I have another 5 minutes of your time? Let me know. I've enjoyed this call today. I want to give us a framework that we can really work on. Um, and then we'll close out. Yeah, we're still here. We're still here. I'd love to hear from you guys after as well. So don't go away anywhere. I'm going to see if I'll pull this up. Okay. Wave at me if you can see my screen so I know it's showing. Okay, yeah, someone's written on it already. Please don't write on my screen. Don't write on my screen, please. Let's see. There must be something I can do to stop people writing, but I will Google that at some point. Right, okay, so here is the D plus DG. No, don't write on my screen, please, someone. Who is it? I'm gonna air that person out if they do it again. I bet I bet it's one of the tech savvy ones. Yeah, I'll make it bigger in a sec. One sec. Okay, so we have D plus DG times. This is what the Lord downloaded in my spirit. Can you guys imagine? Do you know how my brain is? At 4 o'clock in the morning, this is what he downloaded to me in my spirit. Yeah. And I got up quickly and started taking notes so I didn't forget. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna make this real big here. All right. You guys can see? Everybody seeing? Excellent. So we have D plus DG times CL equals FR. Take a screenshot of that, please, everybody. And I'm going to give us some homework to do. Okay? Take a screenshot of that. Okay. Okay, so we have D stands for decision. The first thing we have to do when it comes to sorting out these financial situations, expanding, making, multiplying, whatever that may be, growing, not repeating the same cycles, is we have to make a decision. We have to decide that we want things to get better, that we want an increase, that we want to change, that we don't want to live in the same situation that we're currently in, right? And you don't have to be in massive financial problems for this. This could just be someone that says, you know what? I just need a new increase. Like I need to level up. I don't want to be in this situation anymore, right? And by the way, I'll tell you this. I do co-parent with my baby father now. It's not like we don't hate each other. He understands, I story tell for content. It's all true, but it's all in the past. We don't hate on baby fathers. We co-parent, okay? Just these disclaimers have to come up before I get cast. So we have D for decision. We're making a decision that things need to change. I want you to type change in the chat for me, right? It's a decision. I have to change my finances, but not just change. I need to change the way that I think. I cannot think from a lack mindset. I cannot think from a place, somebody's writing again. I cannot think from a place of cancel, from a place of reduce the bare minimum lifestyle that I have. I've got to think from a place of, expansion. I've got to think from a place of abundance, right? I've got to change the way that I think. I can't think, hide. Let me just hide. I can't think, let me shut the curtains, Celine Dion, my heart will go on. I can't think in a way that keeps me closed. I've got to think in a way that is going to expand, is going to grow, is going to elevate the situation, right? I have to think like that. To stop writing on the screen, ladies and gents, there should be a toolbar on your screen. Then you click it, X, with the arrow. Okay. Do you know you're going to have to teach me that later? Because, boy, I haven't known how to. It's been bugging me ever since I've been using screens, I ain't gonna lie. Meeting participants can edit. Oh, let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. Okay, so a decision to have a growth mindset is what we're talking about here, right? A decision to have a growth mindset. And I'll put my hand up first, right? And say that there has been times when I had my back against the wall. It didn't last long because I'm a fighter. I have a growth mindset. But even with my growth mindset, I have had times where I have felt like throwing in the towel. I've had times where I've ordered Chinese on a credit card to make myself feel good. I've had times where I've gone out and spent money that I knew I shouldn't just because I'm being, what's the word, rebellious because I can't stand the situation. But that isn't you can't do things like that long term burying your head in the sand. We've got to make a decision, not just to lift our head above water, but to really decide to soar. And that decision is to say, look, I've got to have a growth mindset. Someone in the chat say growth, okay? So growth, okay? Here's a big one for you. This one, the DG, okay? The decision to grow plus, okay, discovering a gift. Now, this one right here is the income producing activity or the income producing factor. It's not the activity, the income producing factor. I now make a decision. This is where the vision stroke provision comes in. I now make a decision. Okay, God, I've got to change. God, I'm willing to be obedient. God, I'm willing to activate. God, I'm willing to move. And you're like, God, show me. The discovering the gift part is the show me part. This is the part where God reveals to you what you should be doing, who you should be doing it with, who you should be learning from, where you should be investing your time, where you should be putting your money. This discovering of the gift part is now where you start to really finite what it is that God wants you to do. And it doesn't have to be your final destination, by the way. I'll give you a quick testimony before I finish this off, right? But I'll tell you this right now. I launched my coaching career back in 2011. Okay. And I was so focused in my corporate job, it kind of shifted. I started, stopped, and I was focused on my career. Then, when I got pregnant and I decided that I was going to shift that, I then launched that coaching career again, right? And it had just started. It literally had just started. I'd done one or two events. No, I did three events, two at the back of my church and one in a big hotel, right? And on that third hotel meeting, I met somebody who was like, listen, I've got an idea that, can really, really help you and expand your growth. It does mean supporting another vision, but it's going to get you those results. And so I shifted. I almost put my coaching career on hold and went into the network marketing space. And although I'm not there anymore, I cannot be ungrateful because that's where outside of my, outside of my banking job, that was where I solidly made multiple six figures, just that shift. And to be obedient to recommend and sell somebody else's product in a time where I was still developing my own, I recognized I didn't have the money to build on my own thing. But if I had somebody else's product, somebody else's service, this is where sometimes there's a pivot, right? There's a shift. And I'm not in network marketing anymore, but I tell you this, network marketing saved me in terms of income, right? And there's other things you can do, affiliations, different, and there's so many things that you could have to get yourself an income injection, is what I'm saying. But whilst you're discovering that gift, because here's what I knew. God had given me the rebuild back in 2017, 2016, but I knew the investment required to do the rebuild. I didn't have that investment yet. And so what I needed to do was accumulate income so I was able to take that income and then be able to build systems and structure to create the rebuild. And a lot of people won't tell you this because a lot of people want this, I'm pushing my brand. But if you don't have the finances to push your brand, you're going to need an income injection and you need that income injection quick. Right? And so it's about finding a brand that you can share that gives you an affiliation payment or that gives you some kind of, even Amazon have affiliation payments. I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of the celebrities, they have an Amazon link in their bio and it's an affiliation link. So every time someone buys something from Amazon, they actually have that thing. And here's something that a lot of people don't know. If you go onto multiple sites, multiple pages that you spend on each and every month, whether that be Amazon, whether that be Apple, whether that be most of these big brands, if you look at the fine print, if you look at the bottom, you will see that they have a partner with us, an affiliation, and you could literally affiliate and have a storefront with these companies. And anytime people spend on your store, you get paid, right? In fact, in the rebuild, we now have an affiliation link because I noticed that so many people are enjoying some of our paid services And it's enabled us to really be able to pay those that are supporting the Rebuild brand and helping people to join the Rebuild. So there's so many ways that you could be able to earn an income stream without having to build something out yourself. Or if you believe that you can build something out yourself with the internet, because we didn't have Zoom back then when I was launching. We didn't have all those things. Everything was face to face. But these days, if you want to build your network, you want to build your following, you want to build your influence, so that when you do have something to drop. Right now, I've got one group that has over, I think it's like 20,000 people connected to it. It's on a funnel. And if I was to sell something for £1, and those 20,000 people bought it, that's a 20 grand injection. But here's what you need to do. You need to build that network. So when you're discovering a gift, you're also discovering a network. You're discovering influence. You're discovering mentorship. You're in that discovery stage so that you can now start to develop something that's going to bring you in an income stream. Right? You could be somebody, no, like Auntie Anne, she decorates, for weddings, christenings, she decorates parties, with, the tables and centerpieces and all of that. And let's say, for example, somebody wants to use Auntie Anne, guess what? Rather than her having to post about it all the time, which is good, she can post about it. If she's connected to a few networks, so for example, I'll give you an example. I'm a part of my netball network. I'm a part of the Rebuild network. I've got a property development millionaires sort of like group that I'm a part of. I'm a part of my book publishing network. I'm a part of multiple different networks. I've got the Wealthier World network that we had all those years ago, right? Having been a part of, and I don't just mean you're in a group chat, I mean people know you, that you're giving value. So imagine if somebody wants to do their christening. We've had a couple of babies born this month. Auntie Anne drops in that, people know that Auntie Anne does the table decorations because she's a part of a network. She is going to get more customers, more income. Say yes if you understand what I mean. So ultimately, what I'm talking about is your net worth is going to be connected to your network based on the value that you bring towards that network, right? So don't expect just to be a part of a network and have people coming and buying from you. You've got to give value. You've got to be an active person that people see visibly in that network, that they're looking at you to be like, okay, I remember that lady. So when you bring something to the table, and this is the thing, Auntie Anne doesn't own the Rebuild network, but because she's a part of it and because she actively sows into it, people know her. And because I'm saying her name on this call now, because she sewed into it, guess what happens? She now inherits an entire network that she didn't have to build. That's the power of, for example, network marketing. So when you join any of these companies or you are an affiliation for any of these companies, even Amazon. Now, the thing with Amazon is you're very rarely going to have an Amazon group chat where you're going to get a network of people, but they do have different trainings and stuff. And I'm not affiliation to Amazon. I'm not promoting it. I'm just using that as an example. You have when you give and when you give value, you become more valuable and then people give you more access. And when you have more access, you have then more availability to be able to share your gift. Okay. So DG, just put DG in the chat if you understand. This is a very powerful stage. This is a critical stage, and most people get it wrong. Most people don't, most people have an entitlement mindset and think, oh, I've got this gift now, why am I rich? Well, actually, you're not giving the value in the marketplace, right? So discovering the gift, okay, right? And then we're going to times that, okay, by these two words, creating and sharing. So let's say your gift is storytelling. Mine is I love telling a story, right? But the story doesn't go anywhere if you don't create a package. And you could create a package. How many of you have created stuff on Canva, or you've created things in your notebooks, or you've written out stories and you started to write your book, but you've never published it, you've never got that done, and you've never shared it with anybody? Well, that's the point of this. You've got to create, but you also got to share. The art of talking about what you do, the art of inviting persons to see your product or service, the art of creating it with a spirit of excellence so that when you do deliver that thing, people are going to want to join, people are going to want to buy, people are going to want to be a part of it, people are going to want to see what it is that you have to offer. Okay, so you're either at a decision stage where you're still at the stage where you're like, Lord, I'm tired of this day. I'm tired. You're at the stage where you pass the tired stage, you've started to discover a little bit, but you're not quite there yet. Or you're at the stage of creating and sharing. Now you need all three. You need to get all three of those done. And on the back of that, of course, you are going to see fast results. This is something for fast results, right? We're not here to talk about retention just yet. This is about fast results. Okay. So I'm going to give you a quick example. I'll only give you two examples before we wrap up. Okay. Example number one, you come off this call today and you pull out something that you've done on Canva, some kind of value. Okay. And you go on social media and you begin to talk about it. You put a link in your bio and people begin to buy. Now you go on there 10, 20, 30 times a day, 30 times a week, and all of a sudden people are starting to buy that thing, right? If you have a low following, it takes a little time to build it up. You may put it on your WhatsApp. You may share a webinar, right? Some of my mentees in the boot camp did a fantastic job on Saturday on their first webinar together. Beautiful. And there were sales being made live on that call, right? Shout out to Andrea and the team, Jackie, Omita. You all did a fantastic job. Audrey, it was great to be a part of it and just watch, this whole creation of an event come to fruition. And fast results were able to happen. Why? They promoted for the event, they planned what they were going to say, they shared it, and then boom, when people were there, they bought from them and results were made, right? Now, of course, we're not here to talk about the follow up, how you get them, keep buying, all that. We're just talking about the initial stages right now of how to create. Now, if you're somebody that says, well, I don't really have anything that I can create right now, I'm not really creative, I haven't really got the money to create, because if you are not, and let's say, for example, you create something on Canva and it's not up to par, ain't nobody want to buy it, right? So then you may start thinking, oh, I've got to invest in a designer, and that takes money, and I don't have money at the moment, right? So now you start to think about where your money lies and what you have to do, and it may not be possible to do something like that. But then you have a company like Amazon, you affiliate and you put that in your link. You haven't had to create anything, and you now start, and you don't have to uphold it, you don't have to do the Zooms, you don't have to do anything. They do everything back end. Okay. And it's similar to Rebuild, similar to any other affiliations that you'd have. Okay. The companies themselves maintain that customer, but you as the person who recommends to that customer, you get an income off the back of that, right? And a lot of these affiliations you can earn quite healthily as well, right? So I just want you to put 7 in the chat if I've given you a little bit of food for thought today. Okay, fast results require a change of mind, a shift. I tell you this, when my back was against the wall and I did this, within a 90-day period, my situation changed. I went from broke, 66 grand worth of debt, to then transitioning completely, multiple 6 figures, just from a mindset shift, just from taking my mind away from my current situation to the outcomes that I wanted. And it was listening to somebody who'd already done it, listening to someone tell me what to do, and then getting to work, right? So, what do we do from today? Decide. Decide to stop playing small. Say that struggling isn't my portion. In fact, we want to get to a place where we despise lack, where we understand that he said we shouldn't lack. And so if he said we shouldn't lack, there could be a chance that we are doing what he didn't say. Oh, that's for another day. What do the young people do? If we are feeling lack, it could be that we are not doing what he said, because he said that we shall not lack. He said that he supplies all our needs. He says that we are above and not beneath. He says that we are royalty, that we are set apart, that we're part of a royal priesthood. Hello, somebody. I don't know if anybody on this call wants to come into agreement and alignment with what he said. Because if we go into agreement with what he said, then if we just put our trust in him, if we don't live in our limitations, if we understand, like Nehemiah, one decision, record breaking change, Miracle making changes can happen off the back of a decision. I want to encourage you guys today that where you are right now, and don't shoot the messenger, is based on the decision that you failed to make, is based on the gift you failed to discover, and it's based on the things you failed to create and share. Where you are right now, the next level of where you could be and maybe should be is on the back of us not completing this very formula that I've put up here for you. I don't know who I'm talking to when I say lack is not your portion, and where you are right now is not where you should be. You have gifts on the inside of you, talents. You do that thing for your corporate job so well with confidence and clarity. But when it comes to yourself, you'll fail to move. You'll fail to take that position. You'll fail to have the confidence to really do it. And He didn't call us to have lack. So don't beat yourself up. Don't go into a pity party. Don't tell yourself that everything's bad. Ask yourself, Lord, show me. Show me what I need to do to increase my next level. Show me how I can have a growth mindset in the midst of this situation. I got off that floor, 66 grand worth of debt. And I'm a walking testimony that when I stood up, people, not only did I find my money, I found my man. Anton just came into my life. Coincidence? Coincidence or not? My man came into my life. My money situations were fixed. I didn't have no mortgage situations. My mindset was clear again. My relationship with God was on point. It is not a coincidence that the moment we make up our mind to not live in lack, to not speak lack, all things start to fall into place. So I'm going to give you a few links today for those of you that want to check it out. You know, if you heard the book that I played at the beginning of this call, I put a lot of blueprints in that book around when you're at the decision stage, decision and discovery. Okay. If you're at the decision and discovery stage, I want you to go to rebuildstory.com. Okay. Rebuildstory.com. And that is an audiobook that I did specifically, okay, specifically for those of you in the decision and discovery stage. Rebuildstory.com. Now, if you are a person, you're at the creating and sharing stage, but you're finding yourself a little bit stuck. You're finding yourself a little bit like, whoa, what's going on? Then you're going to need unleashtherebuild.co.uk. Unleashtherebuild.co.uk. Okay. So you have rebuildstory.com for decision and the discovery part. And then you have the unleashtherebuild.co.uk. Right? Someone can type those in for me. So rebuildstory.com. Rebuildstory.com. That is for the first two Ds. And then unleashtherebuild.co.uk for those that are on creating and sharing. Can I see what I'm doing here? I want to share with you these type of blueprints, right? And the final one, those of you that really want to get into the bag, you really want to make this money, you really want to understand financial literacy, we have 3 tickets remaining for our live event next week, Thursday, in London. And that is livetradeshow.co.uk. Okay. Someone type that in, livetradeshow.co.uk. We're going to be talking all things money. We're going to be doing live investing in the room. I'm going to be doing the whole psychology behind money. We are going to be setting up wealth plans. I'm going to be giving you a strategy and a structure of how to collect money when people owe you money. I'm also going to be doing, we're going to be doing budgeting tools, and I'm going to be sharing with you behind the scenes of a new scanner and new frameworks that I have that's going to help you guys create an income like in minutes. So I'm really excited about that. I'm looking forward to seeing so many of you at the live trade show. Shout out to Natalie. She has been helping me behind the scenes test this scanner, and she's going to be out in the trenches with me tomorrow, testing this bad boy. And we have, I just can't wait to share it with you guys. It's going to be crazy. I have, for those of you that are in the investing space, I have designed a whole suite. We've got a scanner that's going to be pumping out some trades for you guys, and it's going to allow you to invest like 24/7. Like, girl, I tell you this, this is what I'm talking about. I go through this myself. The Lord was just like, listen, you've gone through these processes for a reason. Now it's time for you to get creative. Now it's time. But these things have cost money. Like, big investments have been made to create these digital assets. All right. So I'm hoping to see so many of you um, out there next week, Thursday. We're going to have a whale of a time. Also, as well, read the instructions. You have to bring an instrument or something to make noise, even if it is like, I don't know, just anything that can make noise, bring it because we have a whole heap of time. If you haven't seen the reel of the last one, go check it out on my Instagram. Okay, so I am going to ask you all to tag me in to on Instagram and let me know your top takeaways. I can pick 3 people on this call today. If you can share your top 3 takeaways, that'll be great. Who can turn their camera on? Who can give me a takeaway? It'll be amazing to hear from you all on this call. What have you taken away? What are you going to be doing? If you're happy to share what stage you are at, then please do so as well. I've seen Jackie H. You put your camera on. Thank you, dear. Talk to me. A beautiful smile. There we go. Talk to me.
Brilliant. I'm unmuted now, right? Hello, everybody. Hi, Nikki. Thank you. Honestly, fabulous session today. Absolutely loved it. It couldn't have come at a better time. Um, Most definitely make a decision. It has resonated with me so much. And I will share the plan of the decision when I speak to you tomorrow. And basically discovering your gift and ready to share. And I'm excited to share the gift and the decision. And it's powerful.
Amazing, amazing. And just to let you guys know, Jackie is one of my one-to-one mentees, and she is one of our Esther package holders, and she has just written her first book. And we
Thank
are going to be
you.
doing a big launch with that. I'm so, so proud of you. We've literally packaged out a whole entire business. She's amazing. What Jackie does is she actually helps those of you that have a gift
Yeah,
but struggle with selling it. So if you are somebody that has a gift or you even have a product and you struggle to sell it, either Jackie can sell it for you at a commission, of course, or she can teach you how to sell it and you can pay her for that. So I am so excited for you, Jackie, because what you're doing right now is incredible. So keep up the fantastic work. Pop your details in the chat so people
I
can
will.
connect with you if they need to. But absolutely amazing. Okay, absolutely incredible. Uh,
Thank you.
who else? Do we have 2 more people? What have you taken away from today's call? Who do we have? Who do we have? Who do we have? Who do we have here? Is that you, Amita? I can see you signaling to me. Signal please, we say signal please. Right, unmute yourself then, love. There we go.
Good, thank you. Can you remove the whiteboard or because I can't see anything.
Are you on your phone?
I'm on my phone.
Swipe to the left or right, you should see it.
Swipe to the left or the right, and I will see. Oh, 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 oh,
You can
oh.
pay me later.
Anyhow,
Talk to me. What have you taken away from today's call?
brilliant. Um, all three of the formula, the decision, the gift, and all, I seem to be tying all of those together, but I think the one that hit me this evening, I've heard it so many times before, but it kind of hit home in a little deeper way, and that is the power of making a decision. I did not realize before that there was so much power in that because I thought I had made a decision.
Mm,
But looking at it and listening to you this evening, I really could not have made a decision with the powerful way that it should have been done because I would have been further.
amen.
That's what I believe.
Amen.
So that's my takeaway. And I will follow the formula and
Amen.
you're going to see the results.
I'm
You'll be able
excited.
to witness the results.
Amen. I'm very excited. Thank you for that, Amita. Amita's out in Barbados and she's part of our boot camp uh, and doing fantastic, doing absolutely fantastic. For those of you that need your spiritual needs met, and she's been married for a very long time, wealth of wisdom. She's out there helping people spiritually to grow, and doing a great job as well. Sherry Vendaya. Let's see if I struggle to say just your first name. Sorry, it's just part of it's just part of it. Talk to me.
Was it me next? I don't want to jump over anybody else.
No, it's you. It's you, my dear.
Um, it's yeah, it's been a very colorful time for me, and this call, it's resonating, it's magnified, I guess, things that I am doing right now, and it's just like, yeah, it's confirmed the whole decision bit in terms of so um I'm relaunching my music, which is absolutely amazing, yeah, and it's going to be in a really huge way. And the biggest thing about the relaunch is for so many years, where I've been, managed by, you know, uh, an ex or whatever, and it's all been gatekeepers. It's all been gatekeepers, and it's all been, things where it's down to what they wanted, and now the decision is basically I'm gonna be, bringing out the truth about, whatever I've been through, and being real and being raw, and hoping I can touch hearts as well, and just allow people to be able to resonate with with what I'm going to be coming out with. So that's part of my decision to just be absolutely open and real, in what I'm bringing out, and just so many different gifts have been coming towards me, and I don't want to say too much.
Well,
But what I want to say is, in everything that um that is coming to me right now, the decision to put God first, and my baptism will happen. It will happen. It's just situations and circumstances at the time, traveling and stuff, it wasn't possible. But the decision to actually, put God first is very important in everything. So we may have so many different things, opportunities that come to us, and it's absolutely amazing. But understanding that, in all things, put God first, for all these things to actually flourish and come through. And that's, that is important. So yeah, it's coming. It's coming. So that's, yeah, part of my decision.
I love it. I love it. And for those of you that don't know Sherry Ben Dyer, she is an artist, beautiful singer, with a voice, but she's so multi-talented. She's sung she's sung with the likes of, I think it's Sean Paul, Barry Salmon, like, I mean, all big names. And
You don't even know half the people.
there's so
There's so
many big
many.
names, so many big names.
Taras Riley, Christopher
Listen,
Martin,
Taurus Riley, me love Taurus Riley. All of the
back in
big artists. All
the
the big artists that you can think
and
of.
all the pop stars as well,
Yeah,
like from Spice Girls days, All Saints, Craig David. Yeah, all of them.
yeah, she's done.
All of
She's done,
them.
and that is just the beginning of where God's about.
100%.
And I tell you this, when you start singing that gospel, it's gonna be game over.
Oh,
Reggae
oh,
gospel, I'm ready for it.
oh, listen,
It's
listen.
it
There's a
really
lot coming. There's a lot coming.
is. I'm so excited. But pick up yourself, Sherry Van Dyer. I'm gonna
Gonna
start
get no tickets for City Splash because I'm going to bring out, it's gonna be different. That's what I'm saying.
the Van Dyer straight out of Jamaica,
Love,
just
love,
come
love.
back. Love you, love you, love you. Pick up yourself. So just two more things, and then we are out your hair. Those of you that are looking for mentorship for myself, we have the Rebuild 2026.co.uk, rebuild2026.co.uk. And that would allow you into the Rebuild community, which is a VIP community. It's surrounded by all these beautiful ladies. And you can go over to there and have a look. Thank you. Beautiful Giselle, ready to fire that link there. Rebuild2026.co.uk. And this is where we are going to be having our masterclass this Thursday. Now, I'm so excited to share. We're the VIP gang, Rebuild 2026.co.uk. We are going to be talking about some things on the call. And we also have a very, very special guest that is going to be on the call. And that is none other than one of my mentors, Reverend Jacqueline. And we are going to be talking about the real raw deal when it comes to how we put ourselves forward as women, and we're going to be talking about, everything. And if you guys were at Come As You Are, you know that Reverend Jacqueline is very raw. Okay, but this is not Reverend Jacqueline from that side. We're going to be seeing the side that doesn't happen at church, the side that can only be an intimate situation. And that is going to be strictly for those that are VIPs. If you're a VIP on the call, go ahead and type VIP. Okay, and in order to, you can still join. It's 7 p.m. UK time on this Thursday. We have a masterclass every month. And each month we give value and we talk about strategy and we set homework. Now, people, you're not going to want to miss this one because I'm going to set a homework for you guys that's going to blow your mind. And all I'm going to tell you is Speakers September. That's all I'm going to say. Speakers September. So just get ready. All the VIPs, we have something huge coming. And we're starting the work has to start now, leading into Speakers September. So if you are not a part of the VIP community, you want to get in there. Okay, it is rebuild2026.co.uk. And Speaker September, everything, all roads are going to be leading to Speaker September. So just be ready for that. And finally, I'm going to tell you guys who has hit the leaderboard so far. If you're not a part of the free community, okay, which is rebuildforfree.com, then you want to go over there because that's where you put your top 5 takeaways, okay? You get actually marks just for putting your top 5 takeaways off this call, okay? So who is at the top of the leaderboard this week in rebuildforfree.com, okay? Rebuildforfree.com. If you're not over there, it's a free community. And there's a bunch of value courses and loads of stuff. Oh, I also have a free course that's coming that is just going to blow your mind, and it's going to be uploaded in there as well. So look out for that. It is a 20-step course. So it's not something you're going to do overnight, but it's a 20-step course. It's going to challenge your financial mindset and help you when it comes to budgeting and all of that kind of stuff. I think I've said that loosely, so I'm not supposed to say that. Please just forget I said that. Ignore that. Oh, I'm in trouble. Right, leaderboard time, and then I'm going to get out of here. So we have in 5th place, shout out to Michaela Nelson. Big up yourself, Key. 4th place, we have Janice Ware Jermia. 3rd place, we have Patricia. 2nd place, Jackie Hall. Big up, Jackie. And in 1st place, our singer and songwriter, Adina Benjamin, who also got baptized. Sometimes I got a membership on Saturday and got baptized recently as well. So big up yourself, big up Jackie, who also got baptized. It is a great season for everyone. All right, I'm looking forward to seeing so many of you on the leaderboard next week. All you have to do, go over to rebuildforfree.com and you will look at the section that says top 5 takeaways, and you put your top 5 takeaways from today's session. So your homework is to discover which part of this you're going to focus on this week. Are you going to focus on your decision? And what does that look like? Making a decision what you're going to focus on, making a decision on who you're going to listen to, making a decision on just change, right? Are you going to focus on discovering that gift, right? Who are you going to listen to? Who's going to help you to discover that gift? What actions do you need to take to really bring that gift to fire? Or are you going to just focus on creating and sharing? Who can help you to create? Who can help you share that stuff, right? So that you can get fast results. So your homework is focus on one area: decision, discovery, and creating and sharing. And when you do your top 5 takeaways, I want to know which one of these areas you are indeed focusing on. And if you missed any of this or you didn't take notes, don't worry, I'm going to upload this on my YouTube. If you're not following me, please go ahead and just give me a subscribe. It helps me so we can monetize this YouTube. All right. And you can watch this over and over and over and over again to remind yourself. All right. God bless you guys. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous rest of your week. Remember, D plus DG times CL equals FR. Let's go out there and do this. Nikki Sutherland. I am Nikki Sutherland on all social medias. I'll never ask you for money, never ask you to do any kind of crazy stuff like Bitcoin or Western Union. Be careful of the scammers. It's not me, but feel free to tag me in. Let me know that you enjoyed this. And I always reshare everyone's stuff on socials. All right. God bless you, people. Thank you for all those that have participated. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Keep building brick by brick. Remember, God loves you. Keep going. All right. Take care.